Well, on behalf of New Zealand, welcome to Australia.
Well, that's two different countries. But,
yeah, no, well, we're looking forward to your
specifically speaking,
arrival.
I'm looking forward to coming to New Zealand, of course.
Yeah, is it nice to be out this way again? Because it's been a while.
Well, first time we came to Australia when I was about 8 years old, the first town was Brisbane. So it was actually the very first place, and then we moved to Sydney. And we never actually went as far south as Melbourne, visited Melbourne, of course, and we did TV shows in Melbourne when we lived here before we went to England. And but when we were still developing really our sort of songwriting skills, really. And we got all our songwriting skills developed here in Australia before we left for England. So we were kind of, although we were still teenagers when we arrived in England, we were pretty well knew what we wanted to do. So yeah, rather than, I wouldn't say we got what we want, career-wise while we were here, but then we were very young. But we certainly got the background.
We got the start. You got the passion for it, obviously.
Well,
really early.
Yes, because even as far back as Manchester, before we left, we were actually, even without our parents knowing about it, we were just sort of writing songs in the basement, listening to the radio, pretending to write people's next record. And of course, our friends didn't know what we were doing. They were out playing football.
Well, they'd think it was quite weird, probably.
We were like the Bronte sisters without the skirts, although that's not necessarily true either. But that's another story. But we were almost like with that insular. We kept to ourselves in our own kind of world. That was really what the parallel is. And we had no musical training, of course. It was just all imagination, and continued into adulthood.
What set that off, do you think? Was it just the bond you had? Or, I mean, because it's an unusual thing to do with your family.
It is. I think a lot of people think, well, you're brothers, you stay together. Well, it's not quite true. Most brothers don't actually stay and work together. It's because we had this one bond, this one goal. And it wasn't about making money. It was about people liking our songs, really. Writing songs that people will sing, And, you try writing a 3-minute song that the whole world was saying, that's the idea of it.
Quite a
that's
goal
an art
to
form,
set
actually,
out.
itself. But of course, we have the biggest song catalogue in the world today, which includes America in that success, alongside Lennon and McCartney. And that's without actually being musically trained and just acting what's in our mind. I mean, for instance, when I approach an instrument or a keyboard, it's really to write a song or compose a song. It's the same with my brother Barry. It's to compose a song. It never really is to play an instrument to entertain with the actual skill of playing an instrument. It's actually to write a song and also record it and produce it, whether it's for ourselves or other artists. And that's how it's always been, really. Instruments are used just to compose with. And that's composers first, recording artists, and performers after that. Especially composers and recording artists.
Is it surreal to wake up some mornings and
realise
you've had just to wake up in the morning's a good thing.
And I go back to sleep and I realise I'm awake.
Just to realise though that you've got, the top 5 recording artists of all time. You've got about over 6,000 covers floating around. People that have done different covers of songs. I think one of your songs has had about 400.
I just one song, How Deep Is Your Love, actually. It's between How Deep Is Your Love at the moment and My Girl. It used to be Yesterday. Yesterday's at number 3 at the moment. It's between How Deep Is Your Love and My Girl by The Temptations. It's the most covered songs in history.
I mean, the money coming in off royalties must just be mad.
We didn't get into it for the money, but the fact is, and I think for anybody starting out in the music business today, it's a good thing not to worry too much about the money and concentrate on the fun and the creative innovation of creating something new and different, and even traditional. There's nothing wrong with traditional music as long as it's good traditional or improving traditional music, because there's only good and bad in this world. And the important thing is to write music that people will sing generations from now. The unborn, and human emotions and melodies is always what we've stuck to, because that's perennial as the grass. People will always be able to relate to it, young and old.
What made you hit the road again? Because you don't need to, obviously.
Yeah, well, it's because it's just keep like the engine oil, just have the fun of it. And as I say, me and Barry, there's going to be films made of our life story and theatrical productions. with particular people in the States, which will be announced soon. And the fact is, we can cherry pick and do those things that we want to do either together or alone. And of course, a lot of the stuff we've got planned coming up will be together. And my priority is, of course, doing things together with Barry. But as I say, we are in a very fortunate position where we can actually do those things that we enjoy doing. And of course, coming back to Brisbane and Australia, and of course even New Zealand as well, even though we weren't from New Zealand or didn't live in New Zealand, it's still very important to us, because these are the places that we don't ever come to that often, and it's so great, it's so refreshing to be in front of those audiences.
No, there's a lot of people looking forward to you coming down, because I think '99 was the last time you guys were down there, so it'll be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look, you mentioned
how's
the
the
movie.
earthquake getting on?
It's all cleaned here. Christchurch is mostly cleaned up. There's still aftershocks.
I know there's a lot of damage.
A month on.
They made a lot of news in the UK.
Yeah, it spread far and wide.
Yeah.
I mean, it was coming on CNN and the BBC. It was mad. Yeah. But no, it's settled down. Repairs are going well. Everyone is. There's a lot of people waiting on insurance claims, basically.
So they're waiting for another earthquake.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not a good thing to say, but I mean, I was really quite concerned about there was going to be injuries, but I heard there was very few.
No, amazing. A couple of animals at the zoo got stressed out and died. No fatalities with humans, which is all good.
Yeah, I heard that was good. That's good news. Not like the miners.
No. Well, they're up, though. That's all good.
Well, they were down.
They were down for a long time. Now they're up.
Down for a while, and they lived on tuna for God knows how long.
See, that was an amazing... Could you live down in mine for that long?
Well, I mean, the fact is, it goes to show you how long you can go without food. A lot's been made. Oh, you've got to eat this, you've got to eat that, you've got to eat regularly. Those guys went for like 2 months without anything to eat, with just a bit of water. And look at them. They all look as if they've been down 3 meals a day. Some of them need to lose weight, actually. I despair. I really do.
Look, you mentioned the film earlier on. Big name, Spielberg's been tossed around. I think you mentioned him producing. We don't know who's directing it. You probably do. Any news on that?
No. Well, there is news, but I'm not in a position to actually announce anything on that. Any news that's been leaked out about that would be on their side, but I'm not at liberty actually to.
No, of course. It must be exciting, though, to have that prospect floating around.
That you do, you get involved in things that only excite you. Of course it's exciting, and it's anything creative and new is exciting. And that's what I was saying earlier. We're fortunate we're in a position where we can get involved in those things that really turn us on, if you want to use an old expression, that make us, gets our mojo working or going. Or if you can guess what I mean.
No, people don't.
But anyway, you get it.
Yeah, I get it.
And it was 2 months without food, wasn't it?
It was a while.
Something like
well, they got food down eventually. They drilled a hole down past some burgers
suspended
down.
above the Thames without any.
There's some amazing.
He cheated. He drank water.
Yeah.
He drank water.
It's all an illusion.
And where is he now? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, where is he? What's his?
Well, he's thinking of
probably
thinking of some new stunt.
What do you think you'd be doing if you weren't up on stage and writing?
What in life, you mean?
Yeah, in life.
I don't know, because I've been composing, writing, doing this almost sort of as a hobby, really, since I was about 7 years old. Almost embryonic. There was not much life before that to know what I was going to do. I've never really stopped to think. I do have interests. Oh yes, I read and I write. I draw and paint for a hobby. But most of all, my music's always been my hobby, and history. I've been probably a historian.
Okay,
and historian, get the English right. And I'm very interested in old buildings and churches. And historically speaking, I like history, but I don't like to go. I don't like ancient history. I like to go back to about the 1000s, And I love English history, particularly going back to the Norman period.
Historian versus.
Yeah, it fascinates me. I'm a great deal. I love that, and. But there's great aspects. We had the Great Plague of London and the fire and all, and there's aspects of London still there. I was actually at a place where I could still smell the burning, because they were digging up a building to build a new office block, and they invited me down to see the site, and there were burning beams still smelling of smoke, you know, but it was all cornered off. And the guy with all the hard hats on was showing me, and they said they had 3 days to get what they needed for the London Museum, because then it was all going to be filled in for the new building. Yeah. But it was right in the middle of the city of London. So I was smelling smoke from 1666, which is incredible.
That's mad.
It's freaky, it's spooky.
We're talking about some surreal things here.
But it's real, surreal and real.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Look, just finally.
I'm not a woman.
When you're...
And the operation's not pending.
Okay, appreciate you clearing that up. We're getting a lot covered off here.
I'm clear right now.
I'm just checking else what's on the notepad here. Not a woman.
Bloody trucker, I can do that.
Any songs up there that are you ever going to get sick of any of these songs? The crowd loves it. They're up dancing.
I don't. I just sing the songs that we've written that people like. There are, you know, these are songs that come from your mind, and that the world seems to have enjoyed, and because of that, it's almost like you're singing someone else's songs, really. But you know that yours. At the end of the day, you're just pleased that people liked them and enjoy them, because there are billions of people in this world that have access to the same amount of notes. There's only about 8 notes to work with, and everyone has the same notes. The secret is getting them in the right order.
That's the trick.
That's the trick. I don't know what the secret is, by the way.
Favorite cover out of those, 6,000?
As a cover, I liked Boy's Own Words, Emotion by Destiny's Child, and of course, people don't remember Islands in the Stream, Ghetto Superstar, which was one of my favourite.
Have you heard Faith No More's? I Started a Joke. Have you heard that one?
I've only heard a couple of times.
I heard them do it live about a year ago. Amazing. Went off.
Really? I should listen to that.
So you're everywhere. Can't avoid your music. It's mental.
I know that,
it really is.
There's a dance mix in the UK just that way of Guilty, which is the Barbara Streisand song from the album, which is just it's becoming very popular dance track in the UK right now. So I've had to heard that. I've yet to hear that. But there's always people covering songs in some shape or form.
Yeah, must be fun Googling your stuff actually. Always new stuff popping up.
It's nice to always to have a living catalogue, and as I say, and to have the covers as well. It's tremendous.
Yeah. Well, look, thank you. Thanks so much for your time.
It's a pleasure.